The pink ball provided a different test at Edgbaston, but some things remained the same. Alastair Cook piling on the runs and England continuing their recent home dominance of the Windows. Joe Root's men racked up over 500 as Test cricket in England went day-night for the first time, Cook contributing 243 and the skipper 135, before they skittled the beleaguered tourists for 168 and 137. All but one of the 20 Windows wickets fell on day 3 and all but one of their batsmen, Jermaine Blackwood, who struck an enterprising 79 in his side's opening dig, the anomaly, failed to deal with England's attack as the home side completed an innings and 209-run victory. Here we look at the key points from an historic twilight test in the UK and 50th test in total for Edgbaston, and how it ended with one England seamer overhauling a cricketing legend. Pink ball focus. The inaugural day-night test between Australia and New Zealand proved popular, with over 123,000 people attending the Adelaide Oval in November 2015 across a game that lasted 3 days, and 2 more have been held in Oz since. Steve Smith's Chargers hosting South Africa and Pakistan. The 4th day-night test was held in Dubai, a perfect venue, according to Sky Sports statistician Benedict Bermange, due to the warm climes and early nightfall in the Emirates. But how would the format transfer to England, where, the temperatures aren't always exactly scorching? Well, quite well actually. Edgbaston reported a boom in ticket sales beforehand, with many buyers never having attended a traditional day test match before, and the second day attendance of 23,922 was the highest at the Birmingham ground for an on-Ashes test, since records began in 2001. Despite a smattering of rain and the crowds dwindling slightly towards the end of days 1 and 2, the atmosphere remained as electric as ever, with fans in the Eric Hollis stand. A fair few Hulk Hoggans, little Bo Peeps, and bearded brides were spotted, not put off by the shift in test timings. It took Cook a little while to get his bearings, though. "I was yawning at 9 p.m. because it was past my bedtime," said the former England captain. "It was slightly unusual, because you're programmed to play in white kit starting at 11 a.m. with a red ball. It's what we've done for all our careers." And what of the pink nut? Well, Sky Sports pundit Mark Butcher remarked on Twitter that it was not altogether easy for fans to pick up on TV, while Mickey Holding, commentating at the ground, remarked that the ball behaved more unpredictably than its tried and trusted red counterpart. An interesting experiment, then, but the ECB have remained non-committal on when the next one will take place. It's highly unlikely to be next year when Pakistan and Sri Lanka tour England, with the timings of a day-night test in this country not overly suitable for those watching in Asia. Relentless Cook racks them up. The pink ball, actually described as fuchsia by Michael Atherton, may have delayed Cook's nightly kip, but it didn't cause him much alarm while batting, the opener hitting it for 33 fours as he matched David Gower's tally of 2 double centuries at Edgbaston and overtook the Sky Sports presenter's record 767 test runs at the ground. As well as lift the hosts into a dominant position they would not yield, Cook importantly converted a half-century into 3 figures, something he had only achieved 5 times in the last 31 he had passed 50. A daddy 100 it was, then, with Cook's traditional cuts and pulls interspersed with some flamboyant drives, particularly while he added 248 with Root for the 3rd wicket on day 1. He knows the areas where he wants to score, and, importantly, the areas where he is vulnerable, and he leaves those latter areas well alone, reflected Nasser Hussain. He bats the same way wherever he is, and whether he is on 1, 51, 101 or 201, which shows terrific mental strength. Alastair was full of admiration for Root's century, but at no point did he try to bat like him, or keep him up with him in the scoring stakes. It was tremendous mental and physical competence. Cook's 31st test century moved him 1 behind Steve Waugh, and within 3 of Sunil Gavaskar, Brian Lara, Mahela Jayawardene and Yunus Khan. You get the feeling the records will continue to tumble. Windies labour with bat and ball. The wickets did not tumble in the England innings, though, not until Doid Malan was caught at slip on the stroke of tea on Friday and the hosts' vibrant middle order perished looking to accelerate. Kemeroch earned mild praise from Bob Willis on day 1, while spinner Austin Chase ended with 4 wickets, including the scalp of Cook LBW on review, the dismissal that prompted Drew to declare. But the tourists' fielding was slipshod in the bowling. Well, Windies seam legend Andy Roberts gave a blunt assessment after we saw more 4 balls than in the Solheim Cup. I'm a proud West Indian. I don't expect us to win constantly, but what I do expect is for the team to fight. What I see now is not what I used to see in the past, no aggression at all in our bowling. There was also the debacle of the second new ball, with skipper Jason Holder delaying the use of it and persevering with Chase and part-time tweaker Craig Brathwaite, much to the chagrin of coach Stuart Law, before finally unleashing the new conquer ahead of the final 30 minutes. Their game awareness was poor, mused others. And then there was the batting. Kieran Powell and Kyle Hope battled valiantly under testing conditions on Friday evening as Windies closed on 44-1, but it was only Blackwood who impressed after that as Windies lost 19 wickets in a day for the first time and suffered their 6th heaviest loss in terms of runs against any opposition. 2 Division Test cricket. The Windies Malays, they sit ahead of only Bangladesh and Zimbabwe in the Test rankings, did not go unnoticed by Kevin Peterson on Twitter, who described the visitors' bowling lineup, Kemar Roach side, as help yourself, or by Nasser Hussain, who analysed in depth how Windies' attack was 2nd division compared to the 1st division one he saw from South Africa. There could be something in this division. Like a 2-tier test league is certainly something Bob Willis is championing. I think there is clearly a case for 2, certainly now that Ireland and Afghanistan will soon be involved, he said on the Sky Cricket podcast. You might have 2 divisions of 6, with promotion and relegation at selected intervals. Windies wouldn't enjoy being in Division 2 to start with, but I think it would do them good to win some test matches home and away. This constant pounding they get, primarily away from home, is not going to encourage young West Indians to play the longest form. Broadbest's hero bottom Stuart Broad, definitely 1st division, wasn't altogether complimentary about the pink ball during a chat with Ian Ward on Saturday morning, but he used it to great effect under the lights on Saturday night, pinning Chase LBW with a grubber, forcing Holder to nick off first ball, and then angling one back into Shane Dorrich's off stump to move 2nd on England's all-time wicket takers list. Sir Ian Bottom, 383, is now 3rd on that chart, the first time since 1984 he hasn't been in the top 2, but could not have been happier for the man that trumped him. It was a matter of when, not if, he passed me, and I think it's terrific that he's got there. He's got height and pace, and he gets bounce. Perhaps most importantly of all, he has that knack of producing match-changing spells. Broad said, Bottom has been a hero of mine, the person who gave me my test cap back in 2007 and someone who inspired me to play cricket for England with his performances against Australia. That inspires young kids, so it is very special to be stood by him now, and also up there in the rankings with him. It's a very special day, having the family here. Anderson also played his part in England's victory, bagging 5 wickets in the match, including 3 of Windies' top 5 in the first innings. The test marked the first time England's top 2 wicket takers have figured in the same test for the first time since Fred Truman and Brian Statham in 1963, with Anderson and Broad now having scoped 837 test wickets while playing together. Russell beguiles in the zone. Jack Russell is one of a kind, and we were lucky enough to have him enter the zone for the latest Sky Cricket Masterclass, a fascinating half hour on the art of wicket keeping, with his good friend and former England teammate Atherton deployed at first slip, and as a batsman, Jack, at times, manhandling others to get him in the desired position. The legendary Gloucestershire gloveman demonstrated why soft hands were crucial behind the stumps, the thumb exercises he used to keep loose, and why, perhaps surprisingly, he chose to ignore the stumps whenever he kept wicket. The ball was my world, he said. Russell's keeping capabilities were valued by teammates and fans alike, but his grubby gloves and hat also added to his character, and both survive to this day. Jack attempted to put on his favorite, and now very crusty, gloves, before apologizing for the smell, and ended the masterclass by donning his famed, dingy sun hat one more time. Watch England take on West Indies in the second test, live on Sky Sports Cricket from 10 AM on Friday.